This is the Pilot's News Briefing Podcast, back after a New Year's break, holiday break, bringing you the latest news in Moore County in this 2026. And with me today is Ana Risano, and she has a story, you have a story about road projects for the upcoming years that you kind of touched on for one of your larger stories last year, in which we had the title or kicker, Orange is the New Orange. And you were just kind of doing a follow-up, right?
Correct. Yes. 2026 is the new orange now.
There we go.
Yes. So these are big projects, mostly in southern Moore County and one in West End, that are designed to increase travel, driver capacity, safety, update how people move through the different intersections, things like that. And it's been this work has been slated for a long time, and because they're large projects, they're taking several years to complete. But the DOT likes to call them their U.S. Open projects because they are planned around the future U.S. Opens. So in the story, I talk about a handful of projects that are planned to be wrapped up before the 2029. Wow. That number seemed so big.
It seemed so far away in 2024.
Yes. That are designed to wrap up before the golf championships in that year.
The back-to-back U.S. Open championships that will occur. And so there are four main areas four main roads that are going to be targeted for the projects?
Yes, we have US 1, US 15 501, NC 5, and NC 211, one section that's in Aberdeen, one section that's in West End. So 5.
Yeah, kind of two separate.
Yeah.
Also, did I see that there's one right outside of Carthage?
Yes.
But that's much smaller, right?
Yes, there's a very, very small project. It's anticipated to be wrapped up this year off of, 24, 27 in Carthage. They're doing a sidewalk path, and they're widening a section of the roadway to 3 lanes.
Okay. And, we've been talking a lot, at least you and I have been talking a lot about projected population increases between now and 2050. And we've talked about the kind of, I guess it was around your SMPO, Sand Hills Metropolitan Planning Organization meeting, where they said the projections were decreased that they were making compared to the Office of State Management and Budget. So, yes, the state's number is 170,000 people by 2050. The SMPO has a estimate that's not been approved yet, but they're estimating it would be about 160 by 2055. No, by 2050. By 2050,
sorry.
Yeah.
2050. A little bit lower.
But I think that, as you point out in your story, one thing that you and I haven't really discussed that the DOT officials are considering in this whole calculation is something that I was thinking about when I was talking about my top 10 stories or the upcoming stories for this year, the apartment complexes, that there are a lot of in-commuters. There are a lot of people that live outside the county that work here.
Right.
And on top of that, there are a lot of people that just come in for shopping or whatever else and visiting or, tourism. And those people, while they might not need housing, they'll certainly impact traffic on the roads.
Right. Exactly. Yep. DOT is taking them into account. I don't have numbers off the top of my head about how many people that is, and it's hard to differentiate because they can't really track someone if they're coming from home or
right. Yeah. And I think it's easy to track, or it's easier to track employment numbers, and so possible in commuters there, which as it stands now, or at least a couple of years ago, it was nearly 20,000 people commuting in for work from out of the county. But I don't think we can project. I've never heard of a projection of commuters.
Right. Yeah, you can't tell everyone who's coming in once every 3 months to shop at Target or something.
And then shoppers or leisure, other sorts of leisure shopping and say golf or whatever is even harder to predict. But that being said, of course, the traffic will be much higher potentially than those 170,000-ish people in 2050. So all this construction is meant to mitigate potential safety hazards from that increased traffic. Just as maybe let's do a slight overview of the changes that DOT says will improve that safety, maybe starting with US 1.
Yeah, US 1 and US 15501 are similar, or they're the same project idea.
Same type of improvement. Okay.
So they are both planned for what the DOT calls reduced conflict intersections. It's had a couple different names in the past. Super Street is a name that folks around here know because that's how we used to report on it. But essentially, the DOT wants to get rid of that center turning lane because it's a safety risk, because people from both sides are trying to use that center turning lane at once. It happens all the time. And so they're going to get rid of that center turning lane, add in a median to block traffic, and then have more controlled intersections where you won't really be able to go across. You won't be able to cross the road completely anymore. You'll have to take a right turn and then drive down a little bit, take a U-turn to go left for certain intersections. Other intersections, they have controlled lefts. Every intersection is a little bit different, but almost everyone is you have to take a right or a left turn, no direct straight across. And traffic engineer Travis Morgan said it's safer that way because you're navigating fewer lanes of traffic. Right now, you're navigating 5 lanes on US 1.
Potentially.
Potentially. Yeah. This would narrow it down to 2 lanes almost every single time.
And I saw that he also referenced that adding that median will take the place of that center turning lane, or take that space, at least not take the place. But and because, which also is safer because now potentially 2 cars could try and use the center turning lane to go opposite directions at the same time. Right.
Yep. So that's the idea there. It'll mostly happen within Aberdeen's jurisdiction, Aberdeen area, and into Southern Pines a little bit. And the US 1 project includes a Roslyn Road realignment. Right now it's kind of an angled alignment with US 1, and it's a tricky maneuver if you're trying to turn left out of there. That'll be realigned so that it's a little bit safer.
A little bit more perpendicular, I guess. Okay.
Yep. NC5 has a similar design. Part of it will be that kind of reduced conflict intersection design, but they're widening it. That's the big work that's happening that people probably see right now, is it's going from the 2 lanes to 4 lanes, and then it'll narrow down to 3 lanes kind of in the Pinehurst area of NC5.
Okay.
And then go back, reduce again to back to 2 lanes, but...
So it'll in the Aberdeen, the main section of Aberdeen, as you said, including some traffic light stuff around the new Aberdeen Elementary School and stuff. Right. So that'll be 1 to 4 lanes. And you and I spoke about the planning, the zoning around that highway a few months ago.
Right.
And then it'll slowly transition into 2 lanes. Okay.
Right, because there are areas in Pinehurst that are really hemmed in by development and by the railroad. So this is just addressing issues in the kind of Aberdeen section right now.
And that Highway 5 also dead ends, I guess, sort of into 211 over the western side in an area that's already been widened, right? That was widened previously between the NC 73 and the Pinehurst traffic circle, kind of where Taylortown is.
I'm sorry, my brain is.
I know that's we're doing a lot of geographic jumping, but that was kind of my way of circling back to finish up with the 211, which is simply a road widening, isn't it?
So 211 there's a 211 project in Aberdeen that goes into Rayford. That one is a road widening. So that is way south of all of this, and that will be it's split into two sections because it's such a large project. It's like 15 or 16 miles. So the section closer to Rayford is underway right now, and then
in Hoke County.
In Hoke County,
okay. And
then the section in Aberdeen, which has already been cleared. You can see there's like silt fencing or black fencing along the roadway.
Kind of near where Coalcraft is, with my landmark there.
Mm-hmm. That will be completed after the 2029 U.S. Opens.
Okay.
So that project is kind of in a holding pattern, at least for the Moore County folks. And then 211 in West End, kind of near the, West Pine Elementary School?
Right.
There's been a lot of construction right there. That is also a road widening. And then they have some other, what they're calling road improvements to add, I think, a bike path and just improve some intersections there.
Okay. I guess that's where we should leave it. There's more detail and what?
I was going to say, all of the work right now doesn't look like, most of the work right now doesn't look like they're putting any pavement down because they're doing all of the pre-work. Which includes moving utilities like gas lines, water lines, sewer lines, grading, which all needs to happen before they can actually put pavement down.
And clearing the trees, which of course was the most visible change.
Yes.
And
that happened a couple years ago.
Yeah, and caused a lot of people to wonder when is it starting? When's it happening? But that was the start, and now there's a lot of underground work happening and things. Right. And
work will ramp up toward middle to end of 2026.
Okay. And then into 2027? Mm-hmm. Okay.
All of the projects are slated to ramp up before the end of 2028. So fall of 2028.
All of the road widening except for the 211 section in Aberdeen? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yes. So it's a lot of projects in a couple of years, but they're all going to be, I don't want to say piecemealed, but they're going to be worked on in sections.
Okay.
So it's not going to be a whole-scale change overnight. It's going to be one intersection changes, and then another one changes.
Okay.
But they have the capacity to do that. I asked them a couple of questions about that, and they just said that they had the capacity to control lights in a way that makes sense and make sure that drivers are getting used to it, essentially.
And speaking of happening overnight, much of the work will be done overnight, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any lane closures are planned for nighttime to reduce impacts because all of these roads are heavily trafficked every day.
Right. Okay, well, as I was about to say, you have photos in your story, so or images, renderings, I guess, if you want to look at that and read more detail about these planned changes to the roads, you can find them in Anna's story. And if you have questions for her, you can email ana@thepilot.com. That's anna@thepilot.com. And if you have questions about the podcast and why we were on such a long break, you can email those to frank@thepilot.com, FRANK@thepilot.com. And that's the latest news in Moore County.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.